Hi guys, this is gsnhome.com and I'm here with a review of the iPhone 8 Plus. We've already reviewed the iPhone 10, so let's go to the bigger one. The biggest iPhone this year, iPhone 8 Plus. It's supposed to be a sort of flagship if you ignore the anniversary iPhone 10. It's made of glass and metal, the glass returns at the back, and it debuted in September, was announced on September 12th and started selling soon after. So we've also played with the iPhone 8 and this is the iPhone 8 Plus, the bigger version. It should have the same processing power as the iPhone 10 and its price starting from $799. Okay, so let's talk about the design. First thing you notice is that the phone is gigantic. For a 5.5-inch screen, it has a huge, and I mean huge, body. It's made of premium materials like the metal frame, the glass back and the glass front, but this glass back is also prone to being very slippery and also easy cracking. Available in gold, silver and space gray. The phone measures 7.5 millimeters in thickness, which is actually not bad. It's slimmer than the 8.6 millimeters of the Galaxy Note 8 and at the same time a bit thicker than the iPhone 7 Plus, and it's 7.3 millimeters. But the problem is the weight, 202 grams. This is clearly higher than the iPhone 7 Plus and it's 188 grams, and also higher than the Galaxy Note 8 and it's 195 grams. It simply feels too big in your hand. Even if you have a big hand, it's simply wide, long and clunky. It's dust and water resistant within the IP67 standard, and it's solid for gaming. It gives you these big bezels to hold on to, so gamers will be happy, but the general user, well, he or she will not be happy with this big format, and once again a bit slippery. As far as the buttons go, they offer good feedback, the power one, volume ones and the home one, of course. So a mixed bag in the design area. Now let's talk about the display. So this is a 5.5 incher, an IPS LCD Retina HD with a full HD resolution. True Tone is also here and you can turn it on from here, on or off. I keep it off, I don't like that yellowish hue and reddish hue. It's got oleophobic coating, it keeps 3D touch. As you can see, it's got dual domain pixels, and let's check out the experience. Let's watch a video, our usual test video, perhaps. Okay, we're looking it up, trying to find where it went. Here we go. Usual test video is this one here, and the conclusions we draw: pretty good colors, well calibrated, and also a bit towards the vivid side, not super AMOLED vivid, but still there. The True Tone thing is not very impressive, so let's actually try and turn it on. Go here, it's on now, so let's see if there's a difference. Okay, anyways, I will have to say that we got wide view angles, pretty solid brightness and excellent contrast in the sunlight. The things look crisp, they look good, and even though there's no Super AMOLED, we still have that pop of the colors. Once again, not a big fan of the True Tone, but it may just be me. Now the pixels that we have here have an RGB stripes arrangement, as you probably saw before on a lot of IPS LCD panels. This is the pixel arrangement under the microscope. We also did a brightness test and achieved 501 lux units, which beats the Motorola Moto Z and the Galaxy A5 2017, as well as the Galaxy S7, but it scores below the Google Pixel XL, iPhone 6 and iPhone 10. Okay, so now that we're convinced that the screen is bright and has a pretty good contrast, let's go to the options related to the display. We got True Tone, we got brightness, there is night shift, auto lock, raise to wake, text size, bold text. It's a very good screen, but once again it does not break records. Now if you want to talk about the hardware here, inside the phone there's the ultra powerful Apple A11 Bionic processor, 64-bit CPU, hexa core, 3-core GPU, 3GB of RAM, 64 or 256 GB of storage. So basically you're getting the same hardware package as the iPhone 10, which is not bad, which is actually excellent. And the phone does not suffer from lag, that's for sure. It's very snappy, and even snappier once the updates for iOS 11 came, you know, 0.1, 0.1.2 and so forth. So in the end, no problems here and no bugs. You know, the iPhone 10 had a few bugs, this one doesn't. And we played some games such as Riptide Gp Renegade. Okay, was worried for a moment there. It's our usual benchmark game. You may as well play Real Racing 3, Modern Combat versus maybe. Here we go, it's loading up, takes me to the trial for some reason, even though I've played this a million times. So let's play it again. As you can see, we got very crisp graphics. The water feels really liquid. It's like you're having a glass of water in front of you. Play this a million times and still get impressed every time, and compare it to my own PS3. Not the PS4 just yet, but it's getting there in 3-4 years maybe. At least it had augmented reality. The PS4 does not have that. Anyways, great graphics and very grabbable from these sides, which is not something many phones have nowadays. Now, as far as the benchmarks are concerned, yes, we also did those, worry not, and we have Antutu here for you. Let's check that out. So in Antutu, a huge score, obviously. This beats the iPhone X, and the Xiaomi Mi 6 scores below the iPhone 8 by only a bit, and it's second placed only to the iPhone 8. Now, another relevant test is the one of Geekbench 4. Amazing results. In the single core test, we beat the iPhone 8 and the 7 Plus, but scored below the iPhone X. In the multi-core test, we beat the Galaxy Note 8 and S8, that's got to count for something, scored below the iPhone 8 and iPhone X. If you want to talk about the graphics, here we go. 3D Mark Slingshot Extreme. Here we're placed on the 6th spot. It beats the Galaxy Note 8, scores below the Galaxy S8 and the Xiaomi Mi 6. This is a champ basically in 70% of all the benchmarks, and in some of those that are not champ material, well, they're also ruled by Apple devices. Now, if you want to talk about the temperature, there's a bit of a problem here. So first we achieve 35.5 degrees Celsius after running the game you saw before, Riptide, no problem here. 39.4 degrees when we ran GFX Bench, let's say no problem here, but after a few minutes of screenshots and camera usage, check this out, 44.6 degrees Celsius. So this is one of the few iPhones that actually overheats after prolonged camera usage and screenshot photo editing. Keep that in mind. On the battery front, on paper you should be disappointed, 2691 mAh, but Apple really knows how to optimize things. By the way, the predecessor iPhone 7 Plus had a 2900 mAh battery, and the Galaxy Note 8 3300 mAh. On paper we are promised basically the same duration of usage as the iPhone 7 Plus, and we'll also have wireless charging of the QI sort and fast charging up to 50% in 30 minutes with a special accessory that, guess what, is not sold bundled with the device. Now let's go to the video playback test that we did. We achieved 12 hours and 34 minutes, which places us on the 29th spot, just above the Huawei P10 Plus, iPhone 6 Plus and HTC U11. We scored below the iPhone 6s Plus, Galaxy S7 Edge, and those have an extra 3 hours compared to this model. When it comes to continuous usage, I would say that the phone gives you, well, let's say 1 day of work, which is basically 8 or 9 hours, more like 9 hours, and this means it's a bit inferior to the Xiaomi Mi 6 and about on the same level as the iPhone X and Galaxy Note 8. Charging is a bit on the long side, 3 hours 22 minutes, it's huge, and if you want to do it in steps, 5 minutes is 4%, 15 minutes is 11%, 13 minutes is 21%, and 1 hour is 42%. Now it's time to talk about the options of the battery. Don't expect anything special here. We got low power mode, and that's about it. Now, as far as the speakers are concerned, there's a stereo situation. This one here and the earpiece are being put to work by Apple Music. As usual, the tweaks are, well, searchable. You have to go all the way here to get your equalizer and genres, volume limit and sound check. Now let's actually listen to some tunes. So here we go. Okay, conclusion, the back vibrates a lot, and it's no coincidence, the volume is very high. I would say we have a pretty reasonable bass, but it only comes from this speaker here, nothing from here. Very good high notes and excellent voice, and once again, very loud. It can easily cover conversation in a room. You should also know that Apple promises a 20% increase in loudness compared to the predecessor, and I would say it delivers basically. The headphones are basically the same from last year, you know, Apple AirPods with a lightning connector, and we also tested the decibels achieved here, and here we go. So if you're testing the earpiece sound, 75.4 decibels. If you're testing the bottom speaker, 84.2 decibels. These are achieved using a special acoustic sample. They're superior to the Xiaomi Mi 6 and the Google Pixel XL. They're inferior to the LG G5 and the Asus Zenfone 4. The kicker comes when you're gaming. Here we are, Riptide Gp, 99.8 decibels, which is very good. 100 decibels is excellent for any gadget or device you have in your house. It's superior to the HTC Ultra, LG G6, Xiaomi Mi 6 and the equal of the Galaxy Note 8. Keep that in mind. Still inferior to the Zenfone Zoom S from Asus. Now on the camera front, just like last year on the Plus model, dual camera here. There are two 12 megapixel shooters, quad LED flash, one sensor is wide angle, well, one sensor has a wide angle lens f1.8 aperture and one has telephoto lens f2.8 aperture, 2x optical zoom, optical image stabilization, and this time you also have a portrait mode and 6 element lens and better pixel isolation. We're doing 4K 60 frames per second video and up front 7 megapixel camera for the selfies. The camera UI is just as we left it, just as we saw it on the iPhone 10, on the iPhone 8 and so forth. A very snappy 2x optical zoom, and this time the novelty is the portrait mode. Sadly, unlike the iPhone 10, it does not have portrait for the front camera, only for the back camera. The good news is that you can take a pic and then use those effects after you take it. So basically it blurs the background and also adds some things. It messes with the contour light, natural light and so forth, creating a different kind of portrait bokeh thing. Let's leave those aside and let's go to the actual picture. So I only saved some of them. You will see the full gallery in the full text review, and I was very lucky to catch the full colors of the autumn. So real autumn, November autumn, lots of yellow, lots of brown, and we also did some selfies. So things to notice here, the colors really pop out. They're so good that one would call them too good. There is a bit of extra processing going on here, and at times you'll feel that you're duped. So things look too good. Of course, everything is very clear, picture perfect. We've got excellent exposure and excellent dynamic range, and if not, you have HDR, which does an excellent job. Sometimes I feel that the camera is cheating. Once again, things feel too perfect. Excellent close-ups, excellent focus, very good details, although I can only say very good till I remind myself of other phones out there with a higher resolution. For example, the Sony Xperia XZ1, which certainly catches more details than this phone, but for a pair of 12 megapixel shooters, it's okay. Selfies, incredibly crisp. Up until now, my favorite champions were the Xiaomi Mi 6 and the Xperia XZ1. This one can fight them on equal terms. Incredibly realistic skin, eyes, and the background is not too shabby. A few more shots here. If you try to zoom on the PC, you will notice that grain appears, which does not exactly happen on the Xperia XZ1. Panorama not very curved, a resolution of 16,382 over 3628. Some of the clouds we caught, just like in the panorama, are all white, even though they were gray in reality. I'm loving the colors, I'm loving the focus and the portrait effects, but once again, having tested hundreds of phones, I feel that these colors are not realistic. They simply look too good, as if they were ready for a magazine cover, you know what I mean, extra processing. I'm loving the dynamic range, the colors and the overall feel. There's nothing to object about here, but if you want more reality and better sRGB calibration, well, you should be happy with maybe another camera like the one from the Sony phone, and maybe even let's say the Galaxy Note 8. I would put this on par though with the iPhone 10. Yes, they take basically the same shots because they basically have the same back camera. I haven't heard anyone discovering otherwise. We got those cool modes. They feel a bit gimmicky at times. You cannot say they will change the lives of people. I would have loved to use that option for the front camera. In the end, clarity is perfect, selfies are perfect, and maybe only the colors need a bit of work, but people actually prefer them like that, so there's nothing to object. Those were daytime shots. Let's go to the low light shots. Here we go. We start with a test photo without a flash, and by the way, very bright in this situation. Usually mid-range phones only catch dark, only the contour of this hydrant, and with the flash things really change. I know there's a bit of reddish hue, but the colors are kept in excellent manner for a nighttime shot. This is actually quite good. Okay, other than that, we have quite solid details, I would say, for low light capture. Once again, 20 megapixel phones catch more details, but here the zoom is actually quite good. Very bright images, you can actually see the moon for once, not many phones can catch that. Excellent clarity, not very big streetlight halos, a reasonable level of yellowish hues caused by the lighting. Very nice texture of these flowers, details and focus are spot on. Once again, these are low light captures after dark during the night, and I have to say I am pretty impressed. And in spite of that, I would say that it's only slightly, very slightly below the Galaxy Note 8. It can easily be compared with the Galaxy S8, the HTC U11, and totally beats the LG G6 and the Huawei P10. Also, I went back last year, checked out the the photos I've taken with the iPhone 7 Plus, and the jump is very small, actually something like 5% from that model. So maybe I wanted more, but this is basically an iPhone 7s Plus. We also have some extra shots here. We actually use this phone for an unboxing session. The unboxing of the Huawei Mate 10 Lite. And I have to say, it totally replaced my DSLR like a champ. We took some excellent unboxing shots. We have them all here. You can see them in the unboxing of the Huawei Mate 10 Lite. And I'm betting you didn't guess it was an iPhone 8 Plus. Okay, so enough with that. Let's go to the videos, see what we have here. By the way, we also have live photos in case you're wondering. Yes, they're still live photos. So, video. We start during the day, we have 4K, 60 frames per second, we have slow motion, which is impressive. We have even a front camera video, so here we go. Once again, the colors feel a bit like too much, they feel like they pop out. Excellent clarity, dynamic range, shadows, texture. And by the way, one of the best microphones I've heard, although audio capture happens in mono. One more video. I bet this is the 60 frames per second one, more cinematic, improved motion of moving subjects. Perfect exposure change, basically perfect. And talking about perfect, if there's something you don't like, basically you can switch to 4K filming and the problems disappear. We have here a slow motion shot which I just love. Jogging in slow motion, never looked that good. And we also did a stabilization test, which I'm not very happy with, because as you take each step, the image vibrates. So inferior to the Galaxy Note 8 and Xperia XZ1, only in stabilization, otherwise it's very good. This is the front camera. We shot some video with the front camera. I would say that I like the clarity and texture of the face. The background is a bit blurred. Too much motion for video bloggers, so you may be looking into an Xperia. Okay, so these are daytime videos. Nighttime videos are surprisingly clear, but also there's a bit of grain. If you look down here and in the distance, you can actually spot the grain, and for a flagship, this is a big no-no. Yes, I know we have great clarity, colors, the streetlight halos are okay, but the grain is present. However, if you go back to the iPhone 7 Plus, this is a huge evolution, I mean huge. Compared to last year, things are brighter. When we zoom in, we have more details. The halos are better. Stabilization is better. Basically, everything is better from last year's low light capture in the video side. Still, overall, I would place this about 10% below the biggest competitors, Galaxy Note 8 and Sony Xperia XZ1. Now, let's go to other aspects of the phone, like, for example, the web browser. So we got this browser here. Let's load up gsmdome.com, so here we go. Loading up. Safari actually scores very well in SunSpider and Velamo. Impressive results, very impressive ones. Pretty big loading time though. We have to change our WordPress theme. Fluid scrolling, a very smooth to use keyboard, still no swipe. Maybe Apple will catch onto that at some point. You can also use this one-handed keyboard. I'm going to get to that in the iOS section. So we're done with the input, we're done with Safari. By the way, Safari has an anti-tracker feature in iOS 11. Now it's time to talk about the connectivity. On the connectivity front, you have two versions of the phone, one that has 4G LTE category 16 up to 1 GB per second, or category 12. Lightning port here, there is no audio jack in case you were wondering. We got NFC, there is Bluetooth 5.0, Wi-Fi AC with MIMO, GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, VoLTE and Wi-Fi calling. I know lots of names, but they're important, they're connectivity. HD voice, and speaking of voice and other things like that, I'm very impressed with the quality of the calls. They're very loud. There was a glitch initially when the phones came out, the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus. There was a bit of a clicking sound. That's gone. Perfect noise cancelling, excellent loudness and clarity. People have been asking me, where are you? Why is there no noise around you? So that's creepy and at the same time excellent. Okay, so we also did a speed test and I was blown away. My internet provider offers me something like up to 500 Mbps downloads, and guess what this phone reached? Here we go, 472 Mbps downloads. That's crazy. I know the ping is big, but this is huge on Wi-Fi router, and also not the good kind, a pretty mid-range Wi-Fi router. Upload is okay, and on 4G we did something like, come on, something like 101/34. That's on 4G. That's excellent, and the carrier is Orange, if you must know. So I'm very happy with the connectivity. Time to talk about the operating system. It's iOS 11. We actually reviewed this OS fully, discovering 30 changes on our sister website tabletnews.com. so here we go. Design wise, there is a lot of bold stuff and headers. So here we have a header which is bolded. You can find that in many apps. The App Store has a new design. It has a today view, it has a split games area, split from the apps area, which is loading for some reason a lot. There is a new control center, which looks like this. It has these pill-shaped widgets. You can add a ton of them. We also have a screen recorder, which is new. There is basically no lock screen anymore. It has been unified with the notification area. They've been coupled together. As you can see here, you can draw the lock screen down anytime you want. We still have here this view that includes the widgets, which is basically your today view with things you must learn about. We also have a very capable screenshot editor. It's new and it's filled with options. We got a variety of pens here, colors, text signature, magnifier and sharing options. So that's one of the things that you get with iOS 11. So new control center, screen recording, no more lock screen, screenshot editor, new effects for live photos. So you have the live photos separate here, and this is a live photo. You swipe up, we got loop, bounce and long exposure. These are new. The camera can automatically detect QR codes. Siri is now smarter. Apple Maps can show you around malls and airports. Other than that, we still have 3D touch, in case you're wondering. So this is one example of 3D touch, and another one can be used here. Let's maybe choose a live photo this time. Okay, doesn't seem to work this time around. So yes, this time it's moving. That's the live photo being set in motion by 3D touch. Anyways, we have something called offload storage, so you can get rid of some of the storage space on your device by offloading bits of apps. You can see it here. That's new. Of course, since this is an iPhone 8 Plus, a big iPhone, you got landscape usage. This applies to several apps. They will split the panes in two, as you can see here. And once again, Safari has an entry tracker feature. Let's see what else. Siri is smarter. It can do translations in more languages, is better with context, has a new icon. We have a special emergency SOS feature which is activated. As you can see here, I can press this 5 times or do that combo. We got one-handed iOS keyboard. We got the Files app, which I'm sure I forgot to download. Nope, this is Files, and you can move around on your device and browse to the files. You can draw in the email. We got augmented reality and AR kit. There is do not disturb when driving, and Safari has a rounded bar now, which not many people know, I'm sure. So the address bar is rounded. Before it was a bit squared. There is novelty in the Notes app. So if you start an app note here, you can create tables. You can scan documents and remove their glare and take proper edges. Let's create a table. It's not exactly Excel, but it's still fine to have. You can integrate pictures. There is a change of formats. JPEG evolves to HEIF. There's HEVC, H265. Basically, they reduce the storage occupied by photos by about 50%. In messages, you can start sending a message to someone and maybe use this area here. There's basically something like an app drawer within your message area and two new effects, echo and spotlight. And you can also do Apple payments, Apple Pay payments within messages. Touch ID is still present, it's very fast and very secured. I won't even show it to you, or let's actually show it. iPhone unlock. That's the setup, very strong vibration. Adjust the grip. It's still the best solution on the market when it comes to the fingerprint thing. I don't understand why they went with Face ID. Wasn't very happy with it, as you saw in the review on the iPhone 10. This works like a champ. Every time, anytime, as you can see here. Okay, so we're done. This has been the review of the iPhone 8 Plus. Let's hear the pros and cons. On the pro side, we got excellent performance. It basically equals the performance of the iPhone 10 for sure. We got perfect pictures and selfies during the day and during the night. I say perfect, but that thing with the color, well, it's up to you if you like it or not. I would say that the connectivity is uber fast. We got high performance, we got a good battery, we got a very loud speaker, a bright screen, things are very crisp. We get wireless charging this time, fast charging. iOS 11 is, let's say, more useful, even though it's not as big of an update as iOS 7 or 10. And those are the pros. On the cons, of course, a bit of overheating. It's a huge phone, also a bit slippery, not very comfy. The colors look too good, as I said, in the photos and the videos. Stabilization is not impressive. Portrait mode, it's gimmicky, and we don't have it for selfies. There's no fast charger bundled. We got video capture with mono audio, and True Tone basically is underwhelming. So in the end, the phone is too big for its own good. It would have made an excellent phone if it was 20 grams lighter, if it had narrower bezels, and that's about it. And if it came in any other year than 2017. It keeps the great performance of the iPhone 10 in a bigger package. It's got a great camera, once again pretty close to what the iPhone 10 is using, basically the same on paper. It's perfect for gaming. Check out the format, hold it like this, ideal gaming. So basically gamers will buy it, people who want their music on a higher end level, and people who want quality shots with colors that are too vivid. It can replace your tablet, your smaller phone and your console, but rest assured it's a slippery phone that's too big for your pocket, for your hand, even if you're a basketball player. But overall, if I had to choose between this and the Galaxy Note 8, if I weren't in the iOS ecosystem already, I would pick the Note 8. This is from gsnrom.com. Bye bye.